With the news update on WHTC Holland's Cool FM, I'm Gary Stevens. Members of the Holland Department of Public Safety spent a long Monday night at an Eastside residence due to a barricaded person situation before effecting an arrest. Police officers were dispatched to a house in the 400 block of Lincoln Avenue, just south of East 16th Street, around 5:45 p.m. It was reported that the person was actively damaging property there and had wielded a knife towards a neighbor. It appears that there were no other persons involved. When authorities arrived, the suspect already had retreated into the dwelling, and after confirming the person's presence, a perimeter was established in which Lincoln Avenue was blocked off between East 16th and East 22nd Streets. Crisis negotiators were brought in, and through the night hours there were ongoing efforts to end the situation peacefully. Such efforts were reportedly rewarded around 3:30 a.m. when the unnamed suspect was apprehended. A request for the public to avoid the area remains as detectives are at the scene. An effort to kill an invasive species in an Allegan County stream is slated to begin today. Over a 10-day period, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service staffers hope to go over Pear Cove Creek in the Fenville area, looking to eradicate sea lamprey larvae, which have burrowed in the stream bottom, through lampricides allowed under state permits. These invasive Atlantic Ocean creatures came into the Great Lakes via shipping canals over 100 years ago, and infested tributaries have been treated on a regular basis since 1958 to prevent significant damage to the Great Lakes fishery. This effort is dependent on weather and or stream conditions at the time of the treatment. An online link for more information on this initiative is in this story at WHTC.com. Combining community spirit and awareness is behind an annual event this afternoon on Holland's North Side. It's the third Macatawa Resource Center Community Celebration, spotlighting the hub, which provides space for nonprofits offering various services and initiatives, according to Roger Kemps of the MRC.
It's primarily an informational event to let people know just how many resources we've got available for your community. I think if anybody came here, they'd be surprised at how much we can help.
There will be food trucks, children's activities, and more from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Macatawa Resource Center off of 136th Avenue. As the summer continues, concerns over the newest drivers on Michigan roads grows. Based on the latest available data from 2024, over 2,600 persons nationwide were killed in crashes involving teen drivers inexperienced in various traffic conditions and situations. AAA of Michigan has established an approved driving school network of instructors who meet the Dearborn-based insurers' standards, along with an online self-paced course with interactive lessons for preparing youths for real-life driving situations. Adrian Woodland with the Auto Club Group says that the best guidance for these new motorists comes from home.
Earning a license is a major milestone, but it doesn't mean a teen is fully prepared for everything they encounter on the road. We're encouraging, parents to focus on keep practicing driving with their teens, set clear expectations, reinforce defensive driving, and lead by example.
An online link for more information about AAA's 100 Days of Safe Driving National Initiative is in this story at WHTC.com. The National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for all of West Michigan today.
The heat dome is cooking the entire lower peninsula. High temperatures are in the mid-90s today and tomorrow. Heat index will be more than 100 degrees. NWS says they are expecting moderate to major risk of heat-related impacts for people today and tomorrow. The heat advisory today is in effect from noon until 8 p.m. I'm Michael Arning.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation has offered a reward of up to $15,000 for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for a dead baby being found in Rothbury at the Electric Forest Festival on June 28th. The FBI joined state police in the investigation yesterday. An autopsy discovered the baby was born alive and viable before it was found dead in a porta potty by an employee. The baby was found in the Good Life camping area. Kalamazoo Public Safety investigating after 2 women were shot and wounded last evening around 6:30 p.m. on Interfaith Boulevard near West Prouty Street. Injuries are not considered to be life-threatening. No arrests have been made. Anyone with information, search, call police, or Kalamazoo's Silent Observer. The USS Silversides has left Muskegon for Wisconsin, heading into open water for the first time in roughly 25 years. The World War II sub is being towed 120 miles to Sturgeon Bay for renovations and a full workup. Submarine undertook 14 patrols between 1941 and 1946, sank 23 Japanese ships, rescued a couple of downed pilots, and destroyed 16 sea mines. The USS Silversides has been docked in Muskegon since 1987, most recently left for the filming of the movie Below in 2001. Bond for a Cassopolis management set at $1 million in Cass County after he was arrested over the 4th of July weekend for a shooting and an assault. 33-year-old William Werner was arrested after he had crashed his vehicle into a pole, got out, and assaulted a woman. Werner is also accused of shooting at a vehicle occupied by a couple of adults and 4 children just over 2 miles away from where he had crashed. Sheriff's deputies say the names of the victims will not be released. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services says the number of cyclosporasis cases in the state is now 2,640. That figure is as of yesterday. 44 people have been hospitalized for treatment. Cyclosporasis is an intestinal illness caused by a parasite that results in sudden and explosive diarrhea. No source has yet been identified, but Michigan's chief medical executive, Dr. Natasha Bagdasarian, says lettuce is a common product that regularly comes up during the investigation. There are cases in 44 of Michigan's 83 counties, but at this point, none have been reported in Allegan or Ottawa counties. The U.S. Department of Defense has launched a 2-week Navy drone war game at the Alpena Combat Readiness Training Center called Silent Swarm 26. It allows for experimentation with drone technologies, and the experiments will be put into war game scenarios to test military personnel's readiness to deal with unexpected events in battle, focusing on the effects of a distributed electromagnetic attack, deception and concealment, alternative means of communication, and electromagnetic warfare support. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel has filed a civil lawsuit against the president of Douglas Environmental for allegedly violating the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act. Brian Powell is accused of submitting false reports that don't align with lab testing of private water systems through Douglas Environmental. The company tested private wastewater operation services for mobile home communities throughout the state. Nessel says Powell filed over 8,500 reports between 2018 and 2023 using false information. 2 bills before the State House would crack down on loud cars along state trunkways. Legislation is designed to help residents who have post-traumatic stress disorder and have had their sleep disrupted. Representative Natalie Price says there's no need for people to modify their vehicles to be excessively loud and disruptive, and says local noise ordinances cannot be enforced on state highways. The bill would bring a $500 fine for a first offense, a $1,000 fine for a second. Michigan senior U.S. Senator Gary Peters has endorsed Congresswoman Haley Stevens, also of Oakland County, for his office. Peters retiring at the end of the current term. Stevens is facing Abdul Al-Sayed in the August 4th Democratic primary in the Senate.
She's a middle-class kid who has spent her life fighting for the state that she loves. Haley knows Michigan. She gets Michigan. And she wins for Michigan. Like me, Haley is a workhorse. She gets results for our state. And I'm confident that she will be ready on day one to fight for Michigan and pick up where I left off in the Senate and carry the torch for a new generation of leaders in Michigan and in our party.
The move is seen as more evidence of the apparently philosophical divide currently in the party between the more established moderate faction, embodied by Stevens, and the progressive faction, embodied by Al-Sayed, who has been endorsed by leading progressives such as Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. All of organized baseball is off for tonight's Major League All-Star game in Philadelphia. Much of the media attention yesterday was centered on Detroit pitcher Justin Verlander, a Commissioner's Legends pick who will not participate in his last Midsummer Classic because of injury before his retirement at the end of the season.
I know what I need to do mechanically to be healthy and compete at this level, and my body's not letting me do that. So the adjustments that I need to make to be the pitcher that I expect myself to be, particularly my hip, I'm not surprised that my arm's doing great. You know, it always has this thing. You know, this thing served me well, but some other parts of my body are can't quite keep up, and I think that's, you know, I feel good about the decision.
Verlander will join Dylan Dingler, starter Riley Green, and Kevin McGonigal in representing the Tigers, with Pete Crow Armstrong coming from the Cubs, and the White Sox will have Munetaka Murakami, Tristan Peters, and Miguel Vargas on hand. On Friday evening, the Bengals faced Los Angeles Angels in Anaheim with broadcast time at 9:10 p.m. on WHTC Holland's Cool FM. The Cubs host the Minnesota Twins at Wrigley Field in Chicago. The White Sox take on the Blue Jays in Toronto, and the West Michigan Whitecaps play the Great Lakes Loons in Midland. Get the latest news anytime at WHTC.com.